The hum was a living thing, a low thrum that vibrated in my teeth and settled deep in my bones. It was the heartbeat of the warship, a constant reminder of the immense power coiled around me, waiting to be unleashed. The air, thick with the scent of ozone and stale coffee, tasted metallic, like fear. Outside, the waves crashed against the steel hull, a relentless assault that mirrored the tension tightening in my chest. Here, in the heart of the radar room, bathed in the eerie green glow of the screens, we were ghosts, watching the enemy without being seen. The world outside was a tapestry woven from sea and sky, a canvas of blues and grays that shifted with the whims of the wind. But here, within these metal walls, reality was distilled, reduced to blips and lines on a screen. Each flicker, each pulse, represented a potential threat, a silent enemy lurking in the depths. I traced a finger across the cold glass, following the path of a rogue signal, my breath held captive in my lungs. It was a dance of death, a game of cat and mouse played out in the digital realm, and we were the hunters, armed with knowledge and vigilance. My eyes burned, strained from hours of unwavering focus. The green light painted my skin with an unnatural pallor, turning me into a creature of the shadows. The silence, broken only by the rhythmic hum of the machines and the occasional crackle of static, was a heavy blanket, suffocating and isolating. In this moment, I was alone, adrift in a sea of data, the fate of the ship, perhaps even the world, resting on my shoulders. A cold sweat slicked my palms. I tasted salt on my lips, whether from the sea air or my own anxiety, I couldn't tell. The memory hit me like a rogue wave, pulling me under, back to a time before the hum, before the green glow, before the weight of the world settled on my shoulders. I was a child then, standing on the weathered deck of my grandfather's fishing boat, the salty spray kissing my face, the wind whipping through my hair. He was a man of the sea, his skin tanned and lined like a nautical chart, his eyes the color of the deep ocean. He taught me to read the currents, to understand the language of the waves, to respect the power of the ocean. He called the sea his mistress, a fickle and demanding lover, capable of both breathtaking beauty and devastating fury. I remember the way he'd squint at the horizon, his hand shielding his eyes, searching for the telltale signs of a storm. He knew the sea intimately, its moods and its secrets. And he shared those secrets with me, whispering them like sacred vows. He showed me how to bait a hook, how to cast a net, how to gut a fish with a single, swift motion. But more importantly, he taught me the value of patience, the importance of observation, the art of listening to the silence. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, he pointed to a distant light on the water. "That's a ship, lad," he said, his voice raspy from years of sea air and tobacco. "A lonely traveler, just like us." He told me stories of sailors and explorers, of pirates and merchants, of the brave men and women who had dared to venture into the unknown. He instilled in me a sense of wonder, a yearning for adventure, a deep respect for those who navigate the vast and unforgiving ocean. He always said, "The sea never lies, lad. It shows you what you need to see." He'd carve intricate wooden boats for me, replicas of famous vessels he'd read about in his worn-out books. Each one was a masterpiece, crafted with meticulous detail and infused with his love for the sea. He'd tell me tales of the ship's journeys, their triumphs and their tragedies, imbuing them with a life of their own. Those boats weren't just toys. They were vessels of dreams, carrying me away to faraway lands and uncharted waters. He taught me that even the smallest boat, captained with skill and courage, could weather the fiercest storm. He passed away peacefully in his sleep, his weathered hands still clutching a piece of driftwood. The sea took him back, claiming him as its own. I was devastated, lost without his guidance, adrift in a world that suddenly felt cold and empty. But I carried his lessons with me, etched into my heart like the lines on his face. And when I joined the Navy, I knew that I was following in his footsteps, answering the call of the sea, honoring his memory. The hum of the radar room pulled me back to the present, the green glow washing away the ghosts of the past. I was no longer a child on a fishing boat, but a man on a warship, entrusted with a grave responsibility. But the lessons my grandfather taught me still resonated within me, guiding my actions, sharpening my senses. I was a hunter now, a guardian of the sea, watching the enemy without being seen, just as he had taught me. The blips on the screen pulsed with a malevolent rhythm, each one a heartbeat in the chest of the approaching enemy. The air in the radar room thickened, not just with sweat and recycled air, but with a palpable dread. Commander Ito, usually a stoic mountain of a man, had a sheen of perspiration on his brow, his knuckles white as he gripped the edge of the console. "Range to target, Lieutenant?" he asked, his voice tight. "Closing fast, Commander. Estimated time to intercept 7 minutes. 7 minutes? 7 minutes to decide the fate of the ship, the crew, maybe even a small corner of the world." My hands, already clammy, began to tremble. I tried to focus, to remember the drills, the training, the endless simulations. But all I could see was Maya's face, the way her eyes crinkled when she laughed, the soft curve of her neck. I hadn't even told her I loved her, not in so many words. Just stolen glances, lingering touches, shared silences that spoke volumes. Then, the order came, crackling through the comms, shattering the fragile silence. "All hands, battle stations! Prepare for engagement!" The room erupted in controlled chaos. Sailors scrambled to their posts, the hum of the radar intensifying, the blips on the screen growing larger, more menacing. The air was thick with the metallic tang of anticipation, the unspoken fear that clung to every breath. I watched Ito make his decision. It wasn't a grand pronouncement, no soaring speech about duty and honor. Just a quiet nod, a tightening of his jaw. "Target the lead vessel. Fire when ready." The ship shuddered as the first missile launched, a fiery streak against the cold, uncaring expanse of the ocean. Time seemed to slow, each second stretching into an eternity, as we waited for confirmation. The silence was broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the radar, a relentless countdown to potential annihilation. Then, a single word, delivered with chilling detachment. "Hit!" A collective exhale swept through the room, a momentary reprieve. But the battle was far from over. More missiles followed, each one a gamble, a desperate attempt to hold back the tide. The radar screen became a chaotic dance of blips, a deadly ballet of hunter and prey. And then it happened. A deafening explosion rocked the ship, throwing us against the consoles. The lights flickered, then died, plunging the radar room into darkness. The smell of burning metal filled the air, acrid and suffocating. I felt a searing pain in my leg, a sharp, insistent throb that cut through the adrenaline. When the emergency lights flickered on, revealing the devastation, I saw Ito lying on the floor, a pool of blood spreading beneath him. His eyes were closed, his face pale and still. That was the day the sea took everything. The sea still calls to me, but it's not a siren song anymore. It's a mournful dirge, a constant reminder of what was lost. I live inland now, as far from the coast as I can bear. The dry, dusty air of the desert is a harsh mistress, but it's kinder than the salt-laced wind that whispers secrets of the dead. I still see the blips on the screen sometimes, even when I close my eyes. They dance in the darkness, mocking me with their relentless precision, their cold, uncaring indifference. I see Ito's face too, the quiet determination in his eyes, the blood blooming on his uniform. The nightmares are relentless. The explosion, the darkness, the screams. Maya's face, fading with each passing year. I tried to hold on to her memory, to keep her alive in my mind, but time is a thief, stealing away the details, blurring the edges. They call me a hero, those who know the story. They pin medals on my chest, tell me I saved the ship, that I acted with courage and valor. But all I feel is the weight of the dead, the crushing guilt of survival. What right did I have to live when so many others perished? Sleep offers little respite. I find myself wandering through the wreckage of the radar room, the smell of burning metal still clinging to my clothes. Ito is there, always there, his eyes accusing, his silence deafening. And Maya, her hand outstretched, her voice a whisper on the wind. "Why didn't you tell me?" I tried to find peace, to build a new life amidst the ruins of the old. I tried therapy, medication, meditation. But nothing could fill the void, nothing could silence the voices. The war might be over, but the battle rages on within me, a constant, unending conflict. I collect rocks now, smooth, worn stones from the desert floor. I arrange them in patterns, trying to find some order in the chaos, some meaning in the meaningless. Each stone represents a life lost, a memory fading, a piece of myself that I can never reclaim. Sometimes I sit on my porch and watch the sun set, the sky ablaze with color. It's a beautiful sight, a reminder of the beauty that still exists in the world. But even then, I can't shake the feeling that I don't deserve it, that I'm living on borrowed time, a ghost in my own life. The radar screen, the blips, the explosion, the dark sea, the blood. It's all I see. It's all I'll ever see. Block 5. The silence in the radar room became absolute, a suffocating blanket woven from dread and disbelief. Commander Ito stared at the screen. The ghostly echoes of the now vanished contacts burned into his retinas. He felt a cold sweat slick his palms, his heart a trapped bird fluttering against his ribs. Around him, the crew stood frozen, their faces masks of stunned incomprehension. Even the hum of the consoles seemed to have dimmed, as if the ship itself held its breath. Then, a voice, thin and reedy, broke the spell. It was Ensign Sato, his voice barely a whisper. "Commander, the distress signal, it's stopped." Ito closed his eyes, a wave of nausea washing over him. The implications were undeniable. Utterly, irrevocably undeniable. He opened his eyes, his gaze hardening, focusing. "Damage report!" he barked, the command ripping through the oppressive quiet. The response was immediate, a flurry of activity as the crew scrambled to obey. Reports flooded in, terse and grim. Hull integrity compromised in multiple sections. Fire control offline. Engine room reporting critical power fluctuations. The list went on, each item a nail hammered into the coffin of their hope. Ito listened, his mind racing, sifting through the chaos, searching for a path, any path, to salvation. But the truth was a cold, hard stone in his gut. They were crippled, blinded, and alone. He turned to face his crew, their young faces etched with fear and uncertainty. He knew he had to say something, anything, to offer them a sliver of hope in this abyss of despair. But the words caught in his throat, choked by the weight of his responsibility, the crushing reality of their situation. He thought of his wife, Hannah, her gentle smile, the warmth of her hand in his. He thought of his daughter, Sakura, her bright laughter, the way she would run to greet him at the door. He would never see them again. A single tear traced a path down his cheek, a silent testament to his grief, his regret. He wiped it away, his jaw hardening. He would not succumb to despair. He owed it to his crew, to his family, to the memory of his ancestors, to face this end with dignity, with courage. He drew himself up to his full height, his voice resonating with a newfound strength, a quiet determination that cut through the fear that gripped the room. "Men," he began, his voice steady, unwavering. "We are facing a grave situation. We have been struck by an unknown enemy, and our ship is severely damaged." He paused, letting his words sink in, allowing them to absorb the gravity of their predicament. "But we are not defeated. We are warriors. We are sailors of the Imperial Navy. We will not surrender. We will fight until our last breath. We will defend our honor. We will protect our nation." A murmur of assent rippled through the room, a spark of defiance ignited in the eyes of his crew. They were afraid, yes, but they were also resolute. They would stand with their commander, shoulder to shoulder, against the darkness. Then, the ship lurched violently, throwing everyone off their feet. The lights flickered and died, plunging the radar room into darkness. A deafening roar echoed through the ship, followed by the screech of tearing metal. Ito struggled to his feet, his hand reaching for the comm system. "All hands!" he shouted, his voice strained against the cacophony. "Brace for impact!" But it was too late. A blinding flash of light engulfed the radar room, followed by an earth-shattering explosion. The world dissolved into a swirling vortex of fire and metal, a symphony of destruction that obliterated everything in its path. Silence. Then, only the whisper of the ocean, the eternal, indifferent sea, rolling over the wreckage, claiming its prize. The radar screen, now shattered and dark, reflected nothing but the cold, uncaring stars, a silent witness to the end of the Kiyomizu, and the men who sailed her into oblivion. The enemy remained unseen, unknown, a ghost in the machine, a chilling testament to the future of warfare. And in the depths, the secrets of the deep, and the price of watching without being seen, remained forever buried.